Everybody, it's Dave from Clean Pro Supply, and we're going to talk about 3 different external heaters that you can use in conjunction with your portable extractors for carpet cleaning or tile and grout cleaning. Some of these do have some limitations, and some of them have some great benefits. I'm going to go through each one and describe all those. So starting in the middle, we have the Esteem Heater Mate. This is 1850 watt heat, basically external heater. We have an input and an output in the front, and then our power switch is right here, and this is a single cord system. The single cord is going to operate on a 15 amp circuit or a 20 amp circuit. It doesn't really matter. It's going to draw 14 amps. So regardless of what you're plugged into in a generator, commercial building, residential building, any kind of circuit, you're not going to pop breakers with this unit. You're going to be a little bit limited on heat. This is going to give you about 1850 watts, 1850 watts of power to create the heat for the water coming in. The hotter the water goes in, the hotter it's going to come out. If you're using ice cold water, you're not going to get steaming hot water. But the warmer it is coming in, the warmer it will be coming out. So if you're using cold water in, then you're basically going to get warm water out. If you're using warm water in, yes, you'll get hot water out. Great unit to make it super simple, very versatile. You don't have to worry about, what kind of breaker you're on or whatever. It's a great heater to have. It's just a little bit on the smaller side. As the alternative, we have 2 different Mytee heaters. Starting with this one, this is also single cord, but this one's going to draw 20 amps if all 4 switches are on. Instead of 1850 watts of heat, this one's going to give you up to 2400 watts of heat. However, you do have the versatility to knock it down. So say, for example, you're on a 20 amp circuit, have all switches on, you should be good. But if you only have access to a 15 amp circuit, you can still use it. That's great. Just turn one of the switches off. And now each switch that's on is going to generate basically a 5 amp draw, 600 watts per switch. So basically with 3 switches on, you're going to get 1800 watts of power to heat your water. If you do have access to a 20 amp circuit, turn on your 4th switch, and now you're going to have up to 2400 watts of heating power. Now again, same thing, the hotter the water goes in, the hotter it comes out. You can't expect ice cold water to turn steaming hot right out of the gate, especially if you've got a lot more constant flow. If you're triggering on and then you're waiting, triggering off, and your water is not flowing as much, that's going to give you more time for the heating elements inside the heater to actually heat up the water inside the heater. But because this is only so big, it's only going to heat up so much water at a time. Great for carpet cleaning. This is going to hold, I think the rating on this is 500 PSI, whereas this one is 1500 PSI. So these 2 units are great for carpet cleaning, but I would not recommend either one of these for tile and grout cleaning for 2 reasons. One, because they're not rated for the high pressure, but they're also not going to generate enough heat to provide consistent heat when you're using the higher volumes of water and the higher pressures of water for tile and grout cleaning. But both are great options for carpet cleaning. So switching gears over to the Mytee Hot Twin Turbo, this operates on 2 cords, and rather than each switch being 5 amps, on this unit each switch is 10 amps. So this cord is going to run on these 2 switches, and this cord will run on these 2 switches. Now this is a little bit more versatile, so it's great that you can have the options to choose. Do you want 40 amps of draw to generate 4800 watts of power? If you do, and you've got access to 2 20 amp circuits, great. But if you only have access to maybe one 20 amp circuit and the other one is a 15 amp circuit, then all you have to do is turn one of the switches off for your 15 amp circuit, and that's only going to draw 10 amps. Now you're going to drop down to, 3600 watts instead of 4800 watts, which is fine. You're still maximizing the amount of heat you can create based on the power supply that you have, whether it's a commercial building, residential home, or your generator. This also has a circuit indicator because both plugs do have to have separate circuits that they're on dedicated circuits are plugged into. If this blue LED is turned on, then you're on 2 separate circuits. If this blue LED is not on, then you're on the same circuit, and you're going to want to go around and find another plug that's on a separate circuit for your other cord. They all have the same inlet and outlet as far as your water intake and outtake. Now the biggest benefit to this is because of the amount of power that it's drawing and the heat that it's creating up to 4800 watts, is you're going to have a lot more consistent heat. Does that mean this is going to be hotter than this? Directly, no. Indirectly, yes, because you've got a lot more power, you've got a lot more consistent control going on the inside where it's going to heat your water faster, not necessarily to a higher temperature because they're both rated at 210 degrees, but this will heat up your water quicker, and it's going to be more consistent as you have higher flow rates coming through this unit. Then it's going to maintain that hot water much better than this one. If you're cleaning carpet, this one's great. If you're cleaning tile and grout, this one's good. I would not recommend these for tile and grout. Just know that the hotter the water goes in, the hotter it's going to go out. And the more water you use, the more it's going to cool it down. So you do need more consistent heat to bring it back up. But the limitation to all of these with external electric heaters, just know that you're not going to get steaming hot water. It's not a propane heater. It's not a heat exchanger in a truck mount. But for the amount of heat you can get out of external electric heaters, these are all great options. I would recommend this one for tile and grout cleaning and carpet cleaning. And also, you don't have to use both cords. You could just use one cord if you like, and then use 1 or 2 switches. Or you could use both cords and then just use 1 switch like that each. But very versatile. You can use it many different ways. This red LED will turn off when the heating element has reached its 210 degrees. So another little note to make is if your switch is off, that'll be off. If your switch is on, while this is heating up, it's going to be illuminated red. Once this cell has essentially reached that 200-degree temperature, it has an internal thermostat, you'll see that this red LED turns off. That's just because it's reached its peak and it doesn't need to heat itself up anymore. As more fresh cold water comes in or cooler water comes in, of course it's going to cool off the heating elements on the inside. The sensor is going to trigger that. It's going to turn it back on. It's basically going to turn itself on and off internally using its internal thermostat. So don't be alarmed if your switch is on but your heater is off. Technically it's not because your heater is off. It's just because the water inside the heater is at the proper temperature. Once you pull the trigger on your wand or your spinner and you have that hot water leaving the unit and you have more cold water coming into the unit, then these will automatically turn back on. So don't be alarmed. It's just the internal thermostat doing its thing. So to recap, great for carpet cleaning. This is great for carpet cleaning and tile and grout cleaning. This is going to give you about 1,850 watts of heat. This is going to give you 2,400 watts of heat. And this is going to give you up to 4,800 watts of heat. 14 amps in 5 amp increments up to 20 amps. And then 10 amp increments up to 40 amps. So if you have any questions beyond that about any of these heaters, feel free to reach out anytime. But hopefully this clarifies some of the similarities and differences in how to use each heater with your portable extractor. Great options to have on your truck mount, if it's an electric truck mount, or on your portable extractor in a residential or commercial setting. Anything else I can do to help? I'm happy to, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.